All right, so you guys know that we have been talking about what is the gospel, right? And this is for an audience of people that may not have grown up in the church, may not really know the church terminology. And I wanted to be able to break things down on a, simplified level of people to spark, I guess, curiosity. And so we were talking about, you can't talk about the gospel without talking about Yeshua, Jesus Christ, right? I personally call him Yeshua. That's his Hebrew name. I know that that's a hot topic on what people decide to call him. Yeshua, Jesus Christ, knows the person and who's calling him. So whether you call him Jesus, whether you call him Yeshua, as long he knows the heart posture of the person that's calling him. So I just wanted to also say that. And so I choose to call him Yeshua right now, I try to get as close to his Hebrew name as possible. And so y'all know that song that CeCe Winans has, I think it's called like Alabaster Box. She's like, I want to pour my praise on him like oil Mary's alabaster box. I think it's something like that. I want to pour my praise on him like oil from Mary. I think it's from Mary's alabaster box. But I wanted to share that story because we're bringing Jesus, Yeshua is real. He really did walk this earth. He really did perform miracles. And so I want to remind us that he was real by telling you stories about him, by helping people to understand that, this really did take place. And I wanted to talk about Mary and her alabaster box. And so we know, some of you may know the story, basically Mary, who happens to be Lazarus' sister and Martha's sister. And we know from context that Jesus, Yeshua, was probably really good friends with Lazarus, Mary, and Martha, because when Lazarus passed away, they was like, why didn't you get here sooner? It was like a big deal. So they from the context, they appear to be really close. They appear to have a really good friendship. And so there was also a story about when Jesus, Yeshua, was coming to their home, and Martha was like hosting, and she was trying to get everything together, and she got upset with Mary because instead of Mary helping her, Mary was sitting at the feet of Jesus. And Martha was like, I know you need to get up and help me. And she was like complaining, she was upset. And Jesus stood up for Mary and said that she made the right decision, because basically he knew that his time was short. I think he started his ministry at 30. And so he had 3 years to like get everything done. And he covered a lot, of course, and obviously he achieved his goal. He conquered death, which is, one of those things that, do you believe that Jesus came, that he died and rose again? That's when we get into a believer. Do you believe that? And so, but we do know that he existed, and that is cross-referenced, not just in the Bible, but during that time period as well. So Yeshua basically said, Mary made the good decision to sit and listen, because his time was short. And any time that you would have the opportunity to sit before a king, to sit before Yeshua, you might want to do that, right? And so he had honored her in that way and said that she will be remembered in the Gospels, and we still talk about her today. So fast forward to when Jesus was about to be buried, he was about to go to the cross. There was another situation where he was at a home, and Mary decided to get some very, very expensive perfume and anointed Yeshua's feet. She probably cleaned them and then anointed them. And with this very expensive perfume. And even Judas, and I think a couple of disciples, but I know mostly Judas was like, we could have sold this, why are you wasting it? Basically, how dare Judas, but we all know about Judas. But and Jesus was like, leave her alone. He honored her again. And when you think about like washing a person's feet, that's such an intimate thing to do. It's also very humbling, right? Because during that period of time, the person who cleaned the people's feet, because remember, they were wearing sandals, it was dusty, it was a lot going on. So when you came into someone's house, you got your feet clean. And so that was typically given to the lowest of the lowest servants or slaves in the home, right? And so for Mary to humble herself, to understand the magnitude of this situation, not only am I going to wash his feet, but I'm going to anoint his feet with precious, expensive oil. So you really want to think of her heart posture and what would make a woman, remember these are real stories, what would make a woman humble herself to do something like that? What does she see in Yeshua to want to do something like that, And we got to kind of think of it from that perspective, that these were real people, and you have to put yourself in her shoes and think of someone that you wanted to honor, and you take their shoes off, you clean them, and then you anoint them. That's such an intimate thing. So to me, that's the purest definition of love, right? Mary loved Jesus, and this was her way of honoring him, and she will forever be remembered in the Gospels for that. So that's just another story. I think I kind of set the whole thing. I think the story, the setting is in Matthew. Would love for you to go check it out as we continue to find out what is the gospel. And we can't talk about the gospel without talking about Yeshua. So appreciate y'all watching, and I'll see you the next time. Bye.